Do you remember where you were on April 4th, 2013? It was the day gaming Easter eggs changed forever.
Oh, there it is!
Yeah, Battlefield added the Megalodon, something so iconic it got me thinking, what is the greatest video game Easter egg from every year? Expedition 33 has been taking the world by storm, and while it has a pretty serious tone, there's an Easter egg that's the opposite. After completing Gestral Ascension, you can head to the beach where you'll find a bunch of platforms going up to the sky. Now you probably already guessed it, but the whole thing is a reference to Only Up, and it is pretty difficult to climb just like the actual game. But make your way to the very top, and you'll be rewarded with an extremely rare outfit. And over in Battlefield 2042, fans spotted a sign that warned them of sharks in the water. Now, nothing could be spotted, making us realize this might be the first step of a classic Easter egg. Searching around, they discovered multiple laptops you could actually pick up that would teleport to the shark sign. And in true Battlefield tradition, it wasn't done there. Now you had to activate these in a secret order, then finally make 3 sacrifices to the ocean. All of this effort would unleash the one, the only, Sharknado.
What the hell is even that?
While exploring Kobo and Jedi Survivor, you could find a cave that seems normal until you take a closer look and realize that's an invisible hole in the wall. It is just one of the game's many shortcuts, but usually these get you to an area quicker, whereas this one completely trolls the player. It forces you to cram yourself down a corridor for 5 straight minutes. And your reward for doing this? The world's strangest art class.
Interesting.
But what the hell, boy?
Horizon Forbidden West has a mysterious axe stuck in a tree, and if you scan it, you could follow this invisible path towards a secret totem. Here you'll find the man himself, Kratos, hiding in the snow, but it goes way further than this. There are 2 other totems belonging to Atreus alongside Brock and Sindri. Once you've collected them all, you'll unlock an exclusive item, the God of War face paint.
Nice.
Another secret is the touching tribute around the Isle of Thieves. There are over 22 journals scattered in the world, and they belong to a pirate known as Glitterbeard. Reading through them, you'll learn about how he appreciates nature, kindness, and life at the sea. Only the most dedicated players were able to track them all down, and with only one remaining, they were told to head to Plunder Valley. Here, there was now a tree covered in bottles, and it was impossible to activate on your own. In order to proceed, 7 other players had to join in and celebrate the life of Glitterbeard. Now they all had to play instruments in the right locations, triggering the most beautiful Easter egg of 2021. Entering the cave, they finally got their hands on the last journal, learning that Glitterbeard was the nickname of a real person, James White. He was a developer that worked at Rare, who sadly passed away in 2020. Thanks to this Easter egg, his co-workers made sure he would live on forever. And speaking of 2020, this was the year Modern Warfare got a reboot. And while many things were different, one tradition remained the same: teddy bears. Whenever people see these in Call of Duty, they immediately shoot them. And on the Isle 9 map, this would lead to a hilarious Easter egg. Yeah, this was an amazing roast to all those people who stashed toilet paper during lockdown. And it wasn't the only FPS to surprise players. Apex Legends fans noticed there were a ton of adorable toys on the map resembling the Loch Ness Monster. And even better, you could shoot these little guys, causing the kill feed to say a Nessie appears. Wipe out every single toy on the map, and it'll turn from a plushie to the real thing.
A Nessie surfaces. There he is!
Oh, bro.
Look at him! Yeah, we did it, dude.
Kinda reminds me of the greatest video game weapon of 2018. Battlefield 5 had these strange boxes on the map that pointed you in a certain direction. Now, of course, following these would lead you to a secret dig site. And as we all know, X marks the spot.
Oh, yeah.
Pow! 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 Pow!
2017 is the year gaming changed forever with Breath of the Wild, and hiding inside this world, you could find a man who made the vision possible. Satoru Iwata passed away in 2015, and at the time, Nintendo were in the middle of making a new Zelda. Now obviously, this was a monumental loss for the industry, and Breath of the Wild's director said, "There were moments we'd come up with an idea which we'd be excited to talk to Iwata about, but then we remember he was no longer here." So when the game finally released 2 years later, it was only right to include a tribute to Iwata in the form of an NPC. He has the exact same haircut and glasses, with his quest description saying, "This holy creature is a reincarnation of a sage that died on the lands it now protects. It's sometimes known by its other name, Satori." Now, if you didn't know, Satori is derived from the name Sataru, easily making this the best Easter egg of 2017. But what about when developers want to pay tribute to their humble beginnings? Well, Uncharted 4 has an extremely hidden item that shocked players. By swinging into this small crevice, you could pick up the Wumpa fruit from Crash Bandicoot. And yeah, it's even back in its full pixelated glory. But there was an Easter egg in 2015 that nobody discovered until 8 years later. The developers of The Witcher 3 kept claiming nobody had found their last secret. And it wasn't until 2022 when Latalis finally uncovered it. It all revolves around this character, Vivian, a woman who is slowly transforming into a bird due to a curse. Now, once you get to the end of her quest line, there is an option to cure her, but unfortunately, there's a problem.
The changes will be irreversible. You'll probably also only have 7 years left to live, at the most.
Little did we know, he was not kidding. If you return to Vivian after 7 real-life years, you could watch as she drops dead on the spot. Now, the Talos Principle is known for its secrets, but the strangest one is hiding behind this door. At first it says entry denied, and if the stamp looks familiar, that's because it's from the iconic indie game Papers, Please. Most people would just walk away after this, yet if you come back after finding the approved stamp, the door will unlock. This sends you miles underground to a secret theater, and here you'll find the real developers waiting for a movie to start. And yeah, there is a movie. The Fox and Star Wars parodies aside, you could just sit here and watch an actual short film where the main character is revealed to be Serious Sam. Now we're in 2013, and its greatest Easter egg is one of the most iconic in gaming history. I'm of course talking about Battlefield 4's Megalodon. The community spent actual months trying to discover how to activate this, and when they finally learned the secret, we were all blown away.
Oh, there it is. Oh!
Yeah, it still might not be as famous as the year before it, when Minecraft took over the world. Not only was it the game of 2012, it had an Easter egg that's still iconic to this day. All you had to do was simply rename a mob to Dinnerbone. Over in The Witcher 2, fans are still laughing at this guy who faceplanted straight into the floor. This was an obvious jab to Assassin's Creed's Leap of Faith, with the devs clearly roasting the idea, showing exactly what would happen if you tried it. Personally, I love how the devs at Just Cause 2 designed an entire region on the map to be an Easter egg. You can't fly over here and scout the area, because your plane will immediately explode in the air.
Hey, what happened?
Now you're stranded, stuck on this mysterious island and terrified of huge forests. Seems familiar, right? Especially when you find things like this hatch in the ground or an immortal figure that's followed by smoke. By now, it should be pretty obvious the whole island's a reference to Lost. Arkham Asylum made waves across the world when it came out, and people were already desperate for a sequel. If only they knew what was hiding in the warden's office. If you sprayed explosive gel at this exact spot on the wall, it would reveal a secret room. And inside were plans for a giant prison in North Gotham known as Arkham City. Yeah, the announcement for the next game was hiding in here all along, and there was even concept art. But I have to award the best Easter egg of 2008 to World at War, for one reason. It turned into the most successful tradition in Call of Duty history. And yes, I'm talking about zombies. This entire mode was literally just a post-credits Easter egg, and fans loved it so much it spawned a whole genre. And another secret can be found hiding in Halo 3's title screen. This one took 9 years to discover, because it could only be done on a single day, December 25th. When pressing down both sticks on the controller, text appears saying "Happy Birthday, Lauren." A super sweet message from a developer to his wife. Hitman Blood Money remains one of the best games in the franchise for a reason. The levels are full of secrets, like the Opera Theater's basement. Down here, you can find 3 rats, and anyone who's freaked out by rodents risks blowing their cover just to shoot them. Instead of getting caught though, they were given a keycard instead. It allowed them to get into this hidden locked door, getting access to the exclusive Rat Lounge. Here they play poker, eat pizza, drink soda, and even bet on their own fight club. Early in Resident Evil 4's story, you can discover a dog stuck in a bear trap. Saving him is the obvious thing to do, but what players did not expect was the dog to return the favor in a late-game boss fight. But I couldn't make this video without talking about the absolute classic Easter egg in San Andreas. If you grab a jetpack and make your way to the top of the Golden Gate Bridge, all you'll find is a simple message.
LOL.
Over in the Sands of Time, you could find an Easter egg without even starting the game. On the main menu, you could do a specific series of jumps and weapon moves to enter a secret level. The entire thing is an homage to the very first Prince of Persia, and you can even find artifacts along the way like this sword. Once you make it to the end, you'll find a room filled with alcohol, cigarette boxes, and a huge painting on the wall. A sweet love letter from the developers to you, the Easter egg hunters. But what about when a secret falls right into your lap? Well, players can explore the land of Morrowind and suddenly find a wizard falling from the sky.
RPG elements back. Oh my god. What the hell is that? Wow. What?
Now, you could just ignore him and mind your own business, but everyone is curious enough to loot this guy. On his corpse, you'll find a spell that gives you a super jump. Okay, so it doesn't take a genius to figure out why this wizard fell to his death. But as always, players just feel like he did it wrong. Surely we'll be able to use it wisely, right? In 2001, we were treated to Silent Hill 2, and fans quickly realized there were a ton of endings. What no one expected, though, was the true story to appear once you found all of them. With the game beaten 4 separate times, you'd finally get the grand reveal.
お前の仕業だったのか Bruh.
Yeah, a dog was controlling everything. Considering the story of Silent Hill 2, this might be the most evil dog in video games. But Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 gave us the first mind-blowing Easter egg of the millennium, and you could only find this if you beat the entire game and collected every tape. With all of this complete, you can now arguably play as the best skater in the world, Spider-Man. It was pretty insane for the time. But now we're in 1999, where the first Silent Hill game took the world by storm. As you know by now, they're pretty good at secret endings, and even the first game had one. If you replayed the whole story and used the channeling stone in 5 different locations, you'd get abducted.
What?
$1998 was the year everything changed for gamers, because Metal Gear Solid was able to break the 4th wall. Yeah, during the Psycho Mantis boss fight, he would literally read your memory card and call out what games you were playing.
Oh, you like Suikoden. So, you like Azure Dreams? You like Castlevania, don't you? I can read you like an open book.
And the only way to defeat Psycho Mantis was to physically move your controller to a different port so it would block his mind-reading powers. It was pretty insane. And it was here in the late 90s that classic video game characters started to make a name for themselves, like Lara Croft. Now, gamers were so thirsty that when they heard Tomb Raider 2 had a naked cheat code, they rushed to do it. Stepping forwards, backwards, forwards, 3 rotates, and then finally a jump. What they expected was her clothes to come off, and what they got was... But instead of trolling their fans, the developers of Resident Evil decided to thank them. Back in 1996, the first game was actually called Biohazard, and there was a secret for only the most dedicated players. If you completed the entire game with invisible enemies turned on and did it in under 5 hours, you would get a personal thank you letter from the game's director. Thank you for taking the time to play all the way through Biohazard. If you're reading this letter, I salute you. You are truly a remarkable player. Please allow me to express our gratitude and congratulate you on a job well done. Now, throughout the 90s, we had a ton of Star Wars games, including Dark Forces. In one of the levels, you could use the invincibility cheat to jump off the edge of the map. Once you've survived the fall, you can now type in a cheat to climb up walls and enter a hidden room. Most players had no idea, but there's an even deeper secret room hiding inside of here. All you had to do was press the action button and open the door, revealing a chained-up Ewok. He's looking a little desperate to escape, but if you're even crazier than him, you could straight up wipe him out. In 1994, the team behind Doom 2 added a secret that changed the idea of a final boss forever. At the end of the game, you come up against the Icon of Sin, and once you've defeated him, congratulations, you've beaten the game. But while that's how the story's supposed to end, what nobody realized is that there's an Easter egg that can only be found using cheats. If you no-clip through the enemy's face, you'll discover the severed head of John Romero, the co-creator of Doom. Now, this might sound like gibberish, but if you reverse the audio, it's revealed to be John's own voice.
To win the game, you must kill me, John Romero.
And that's not the only creator to get reversed. In Mortal Kombat 2, you could get 25 wins in a row, letting you unlock a secret enemy, Noob Saibot. Well, if you reverse the letters in this guy's name, it spells out Tobias Boone. The surnames of John Tobias and Ed Boon, the creators of Mortal Kombat. Hiding on the 7th floor of Wolfenstein 3D, you can unlock a secret door that takes you straight to an unknown level. Okay, that was a pretty easy level, right? Huh? Wait, what? Get psyched. Now we're on the 10th floor and we're stuck in a 3D Pac-Man room.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
And games in the 90s seriously loved their secret rooms, especially Link to the Past. If Link's location was on screen in a certain position, and he changed screens using Pegasus boots, the game would now put you in a mysterious room full of rupees. And if you read the sign, you'd see, "My name is Chris Houlihan. This is my top secret room. Keep it between us, okay?" Now, you're probably wondering, who in the world is Chris Houlihan? Well, turns out, before the game released, Nintendo Power Magazine ran a contest. And the grand prize for the winner, getting your name put in a hidden room. In 1990, The Secret of Monkey Island released, and this was developed by Lucasfilm, the creator of Star Wars and Indiana Jones. So in fitting fashion, there's a moment where you can go into a voodoo shop, pick up a cup, and accidentally turn into the man himself.
Huh? I'm not Indy, or am I?
Not the only hidden cameo. Tetris for the NES had some incredible secrets that only appeared if you beat a 9 difficulty level in B-Type. Once you completed it, a bunch of Nintendo characters would show up just to congratulate you. 1988's Kung Fu Master is just a side-scroller that lets you kick and punch people. I mean, it's in the name. However, if you press Shift-G while facing left, then this happens. But did you know that the original Metroid game had an insane secret ending? Samus is one of Nintendo's iconic female characters, yet if you beat the game in under an hour, you'd see a little too much fan service.
Oh my God!
Over in the OG Legend of Zelda, there wasn't a ton hiding in game, but there was one familiar face for Nintendo fans. A lot of players believe the boss Manhandla is directly inspired by the Piranha Plans from Mario, but it still wasn't as iconic as the most famous cheat code of all time. 1985's Gradius was way too difficult during development, to the point where one of the devs had to make a cheat code to give himself all the power-ups. Except, when the game actually released, it was still left in there. And once players discovered you could hit up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, the Konami code changed gaming forever. Even as far back as Sky Fox, we had secret combos. If you hit Control G while flying, you would unlock a secret Space Invaders level. In 1983, Disney's Atari game The Sorcerer's Apprentice rewarded you for scoring exactly 10,000 points. If you hit this number or a multiple of it, the stars of the sky would turn into letters spelling out PCN. These are the initials of programmer Peter C. Nide. And while we're on the topic of Atari, the year before had introduced Pitfall, a massive game for the console. It was also one of the first video games in history to have hidden shortcuts to skip through levels. This decision was made all the way back in 1982, and it is still influencing games to this day. But what about the original Donkey Kong? This game included an Easter egg that no one discovered for decades. It got to the point where the programmer who added it told people there was a secret, but even he forgot how to unlock it. This led to them putting out a bounty for anyone who could discover it, and in 2009, the mystery was finally solved. Simply set a high score and have it include the numbers 3 and 7 next to each other. Then lose your final life by falling. Next, you had to set the difficulty to maximum and then wait until the end of the demo. After all of this, you could return to the title screen and find the initials LMD. The name of the programmer who added it, Landon Dyer. This was hiding in one of the most famous arcade games, and it took 26 years to find. But what about the very first Easter egg? Well, back in 1980, Atari wouldn't allow developers to credit themselves in games. So this led Warren Robinette to take matters into his own hands. He was secretly going to hide his name in Adventure for the Atari. Now, if you did all of these insanely convoluted steps, you could walk straight through the wall and find the very first Easter egg in video game history, created by Warren Robinette. And those were the best video game Easter eggs from 2025 to 1980. It's been Sammy. Keep it here on T5G.